You know, waves have been flying around in the universe since the very first moment of time. You know, quantum physics talks about wave theory and, you know, all sound waves, light waves. We're riding waves. This is really pretty bitchin' what we're doing. And so what we want to do is we want to understand energy. When we're surfing, we're flowing with energy. We're using the energy of that wave. When we're tandem surfing, we also need to be aware of the energy of our partner. It's very significant. When I surf with a surfer girl, like Shannon's a real good surfer, when I surf with her, when I first taught her, she had to learn to stop surfing and to start flowing with my energy. She had to get sensitive to my energy. So we'll do certain energy drills, like in my black belt art of the ninjutsu, of ninja. We'll train beginners like this. When I push, she relaxes, and when I stop, she pushes back. And now she closes her eyes and she does it. So she's really tuning into my energy. We'll do that and do that and do that. Here's another thing. If someone's fighting me, and if I'm fighting her and I'm pushing against her arm, watch what happens when she resists. Resist. I can push her body all over the place. Watch what happens when she relaxes. Okay, what do you think happens on a surfboard, grab me? When she's really tight and I'm trying to surf, I'm trying to turn. And I can't move. She's like a big piece of stone on my board. Watch what happens when she flows with me. Her knees slightly relax. You know, see how she relaxed? She's not necessarily bouncy, just relaxed. But see how she just flows with me? Her back's against my chest so she can feel me. She falls down when I need her to. She'll move forward when I want her to. Her legs follow her. So see, she's flowing with me. So surfer girls are really hard to surf with when they're first learning. But she would have this leg forward, and she would be down, and her head would be leaning forward like she wanted to drive forward. And now I got this weight out here I can't deal with. So she always learns, she comes back, and then she's really relaxed. So when I turned, she's relaxed with me. We'll talk more about the actual surfing part later. Okay, this is the basic tandem surfing lift. If you can do this, I think you can officially call yourself a tandem surfer. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell her to turn. Now watch as I put my hands, and I'm actually turning her so she can feel it. Her hands went straight up and she pirouetted. Her knees are still slightly bent so that she's not putting any energy into the board. I'm going to press down and load her legs, and then she's going to jump. She's going to do all the work. Okay, and then I make it look good by holding her. But she's helping me a lot, so I don't have to be that strong. Okay, so that's called the cradle. The dismount goes the same way. She puts her feet down, she pirouettes, grabs my wrists, and surfs away. The next lift comes out of the cradle, and it's called a swan, or we may refer to it as a cradle to a swan. Starts out the same way. We're surfing. Sometimes when I'm working with a girl, I'll press her knees downwards like this to let her know that her knees are not to be tight. They're there just as shock absorbers. They're not to put any energy in the board at all. The woman shouldn't be putting any energy in the board. She needs to basically just flow with me. Turn. Jump. And I'll even say the word jump. And then I'll yell to her, release. So she's in a hard arch. You can see everything's tight. Butt's tight, toes tight, head is up, hands are up and back. And then she comes down the same way, releases and surfs away. So the dynamics of that is when I'm going to go lift her, I put my hand here. So when I have her like this, I rotate her up. And what do? Basically
extend and arch.
Yeah. So
lock the feet together. It's very important. Feet together.
The woman needs to be tight in almost every one of the lifts that we do. We want her presentation to be tight. Even if she's trying to be pretty, she needs to rotate and then be tight again. Everything that she does needs to be tight. Toes pointed, the butt tight. Getting the butt tight keeps the legs and hamstrings tight and accelerates the arch. Her head is up. She's not in a Superman position here, which makes her put weight on the front of my hand, which makes me surf off my front leg, which makes it hard to surf. So watch one more time. Cradle. Jump. And then she's going to release. We hold for 3 seconds and come back down. And the women will tend to, when you start to throw them, you have to tell them when to release when they're first learning, because if they don't release in time, they're going to have their hand around your neck. So when you rotate them up, their head will be here and their feet will be way back there. So just as you start to throw, yell release, and that'll put them in the right position. Another thing the girls will do is, when they don't feel comfortable with you, they'll push off your neck like this to try to fix themselves, or they'll hold on to you to try to fix themselves. You're seeing a really good tandem girl doing this, but the girls will tend to push off you, and I tell them, don't do anything, let me do it. I'll throw you up there, If you're not right, I'm going to fix you. The reason why is because I'm the one connected to the surfboard. I'm the one who has the point of balance. Okay, so that's a cradle to a swan. This lift is called a fake arm to arm. It's an overhead lift. It's the first overhead lift that I like to teach people to do. This one you're going to see now while we're getting ready. I'm always testing her knees to make sure she remembers to be soft. And see how her back's against my chest so she can follow me wherever I go. Okay, now I'm going to say turn to her, but I say turn as I help her turn. See how she pirouettes and she doesn't step away from me. Most girls will step away when they're first learning this. And notice how even after the pirouette, then she gets her knees nice and soft. I'm going to press her up, and she's going to bend at her hips and at her knees and hold it for you. We're going to show it to you in stages. Ready? This is the first stage that she's going to find herself in. You know, when we actually do it, you don't even notice this, but it's really important that her hips and her knees stay bent when the lift is initiated, because otherwise it just doesn't work. So now that I'm locked out, and what did you say, Shannon?
Make sure your arms are locked. The girl's arms are locked.
Now that both her arms are locked out, now she slowly extends. It's important that she slowly extends, because if she makes it a quick motion, it'll throw me off the board. Okay, rebend and come down. Okay, what's really is important about this is that when you're going into this lift, let it go up like that and then extend. What will almost happen every time when a woman is learning this is her arms won't be locked out, so she'll start kicking with her legs to try to get her arms locked out. What's important about this lift and every lift is that you do the technique and the form will follow. So the important thing for her is that she pushes down with all she can and keeps pressing, and eventually her arms get straight. It isn't that she has the objective to get her arms straight. Her objective is to press. And guess what? Her arms do go straight. Once they're locked out, then she extends. Can you explain the dynamic of how you're making the jump, what you're doing with your hands and your hips?
Press down and you bring your hips up.
And then you rebend your hips and your knees. When the girls make this jump, they always jump with their legs really, really straight. And I have to tell them 2 or 3 times, no, don't forget to bend your hips and your knees. If the girl doesn't bend her hips or knees, watch what happens. Okay, if she doesn't help me with this, she's going to jump really high and watch what happens. That's all. She has to bend her hips or knees or she can't make this rotation that direction. Yeah. Okay, so now out of the fake arm to arm, there's a really cool lift called a side bird. It's your first one-arm lift. So you see the progression. We went to a below the shoulder lift, to an on the shoulder lift, to a 2-hand above the shoulder lift. Now we want to do 1 hand above the shoulder lift. Now when I have my arms locked out, I also want you to notice the position here. When I'm lifting her, my hands are like this on her hips. And every woman has a different balance point, but it's somewhere in this area. So it's not like this, it's like this. Why is that important? Because it allows me to keep my arm locked against my body and fully engage my lats. If it's like this, I can't use my lats at all. And your lat is really what protects your shoulder. Not that's how you damage your shoulder. You got to always be thinking about how to protect it. Now we're going to show you how to do a side bird. See, my arms are locked out, my elbows are rotated to the front, my lats are engaged. My arms are locked, so all I have to do is give her a good push with my feet and pop her and watch her rotate. My arm is still totally locked out, and Shannon's legs are crossways. Her hip is pulled up to the sky, and then easy dismount. She rebends her knees, comes down, surfs away. next lift we're going to learn is called a one-arm back. Most tandem surfer, most guys, love this lift because you can do this lift before you even make your bottom turn. It happens so quickly. It's so beautiful, and you can see everything when you're surfing, and it just seems to be a great position to surf in. So we're going to show you the one-arm back. I remember when I first tried to do this, I couldn't do it. I just said, I'm not strong enough, I can't do it. And then finally someone adjusted my partner's technique and my technique a little bit, and then we could do it with a snap. So everyone thinks you're really strong when you tandem surf. The fact is, it's just all about technique. So with the one-arm back, we're surfing like this. I rotate her hips slightly to the front, and she puts her hand on my head. Some people have the hand go here, but we like it here. And I grab her ankle. I'm going to show it to you from this angle now. We're surfing like this. I move her into here. My hand is going to be about right at her bikini level, like this. It's like in football, you're taking a snap. It's like this. It's not like this or like this. It's pointer finger and thumb there. Okay? And we'll just show you the lift, and then we'll show you more, tell you more about the dynamics of the lift. Such an easy lift. So that's the one arm portion of this. See how locked out she is? Then I can just surf forever like this if I want to. And I can grab her ankle again and bring it down, come down. She wasn't happy with that. And then surf away. See how her back's away from me? Now bring it back. Now we're surfing. So the way she does that, you can show them this like this. The scissor kick, how you do it. Show the dynamic, how you press down.
Just like this. Oh, yeah.
So she scissor kicks. And she jumps really good. Okay? Okay, so every surfer brings their own style. I mean, I bring my ninja background. I think Charles Inman, who probably be on this video, he's a member of our Waikiki Ohana here. He used to be a professional bowler. I think it was called full contact bowling. So he probably brings some of his bowling techniques to the video. But when some girls, when they do this lift, they'll be like this, and they'll throw their arm that way to get into the lift and helps them accelerate up. And I think it works okay on the ground, but in the dynamic in the water, when a girl's first learning, it'll tend, if her hand doesn't throw directly upward, it's going to throw them off the board. So I teach people to do this, for the girl to hold on to my wrist. And I feel so steady and so solid with her. She's not loose at all. She's nice and solid. So when the girl does this, it can tend to throw her off in the direction of her hand. So when they're first learning, the idea is the girl eventually becomes just a little ball of energy. You don't want explosive energy going all over the place. So I have the girl follow my hand back here. Also, she's helping me a great deal because there's a lot of strength in a tricep. In my ninja background, watch. If I want to put her in a hammerlock and I'll tell her, okay, resist. She can't possibly resist me. I can rip her arm right off. But if she points her finger down and engages her tricep, watch. I can't bend it. Same thing. Same exact dynamic right here. She's got it. So that tricep can actually help me get her up. She's using a lot of muscle there to help me lift her. So, okay, we're going to show you a drill how we help people learn to do this lift. I'm going to kneel down, and she's going to put her foot up here, and she's going to put her hand on my head, and her right hand's on my right hand, just like normal. But all she's going to do is step up, and she's going to realize she's going to jump hard here, and then scissor kick and push down here, and stand straight up. Okay, jump. Okay, hold on to my wrist.
Yeah.
Jump. Good. Jump. Okay, so you can see what she's doing, and that's what she's doing when she goes into the lift. So I'm not doing anything. She's just shooting herself up in the air, and I just look strong. You ready? Now this is called a one-arm back. If I release this leg and rotate her, and I grab that hand, and I got to make sure that my arm is at a right angle, otherwise she can't lock out both arms. This is called a falcon. Okay, and you can just do your flip dismount that you like. I'll show you more advanced. It's a little bit more of advanced dismount that she likes to do. And I like it too because it's quick. So that's called the falcon. It's just you begin to rotate, but when you're doing it, I'm telling you, we want to keep your shoulders strong, keep your lats engaged, and your hand close to your head, almost touching your head. Grab the wrist, bring it around, and bring it down square. Now we're going to show you the third part of this lift, which is called the reverse falcon. Reverse falcon is the same, except for when she's here, her arms are locked, and I just go boom, and she pops up. I reverse my hand and grab her in a C grip on the small of her back. Then you're going to see me release and show the judges that this hand is gone. Then I'll bring it back, and then she can do her little flip dismount. It's called a one arm back into a falcon into a reverse falcon. She's locking her arms out. Locks her arms out and then bends them and comes down. You like it? That's a cool one.
Starts out by the man putting his hands on her hips, and I like to do it a little bit lower on the hips than you might think, because when I extend my arms it's more easy to get her up and over my head that way. When she jumps as hard as she can. In fact, every lift that a woman does, normally I want her to jump as hard as she can, even if it's just a cradle. That allows me to surf and just keep the board steady and not use so much of my own leg power to get her up. So she does a big vertical jump. I lift her up and over my head. At the top of her jump, she opens her legs and she sits back down on my shoulders. It's really important that the tandem girl not hook you with her feet when she's sitting back down. If she comes down and hooks you as she's coming down, she's going to throw your weight and her weight forward, and you'll find yourself falling forward off the surfboard. So it's important that she sits down, just lets her legs rest, and then she can wrap them gently around your ribs without squeezing too much. The next phase of this, there's different ways for the girl to get up into the shoulder stand. The man puts his hands so she can grab them, but it's important that you not have your hands too high. If it's too high, the girl has to reach way up almost to get her hands into your hand, and then she's using her shoulder strength to get up. Where if you keep your hands a little bit low to start with, she can use her tricep. And as we've shown, the tricep is a very powerful muscle. And then she stands up. I'm connected to the board. I'm keeping the balance. She's holding her navel and pulling it towards her backbone. That stabilizes her abs. And she's pulling her head up. Even her shoulders, you can see, are pulling up. So her job is just to pull up and keep her stomach pulled in, and I keep her balance. She's not the one keeping her balance. I am. I am the one connected to the surfboard. And now she's going to show you a one-leg shoulder stand. It's very difficult to do. That's why it's so high scoring. It's easy for the man to do this. It's very difficult for the woman to be able to do that. It scores 22 points because the stretch is hard. Women who are serious about tandem surfing need to take Pilates and yoga and spend a good hour every other day in a stretching and conditioning type of exercise. I pull her leg against my head. I have one hand pulling her one direction, the other hand pulling her the other, so that she's steady. But I also use the hip to support her. It's really important that when I reach up with my right hand when she's doing this lift, that I not reach up too high, because when my shoulder lifts up, it'll twist her foot and tend to throw her off balance. This next lift and the shoulder stand is called a totem. When the woman is in a shoulder, his thumbs facing forward, she reaches behind his forearm, wraps around and grabs his biceps. She looks down at the ground. Her feet kind of step out a little bit from behind his shoulders, both her feet. And he does a down up, and she presses up. It's really important when he goes down that she not go down. She should already be in the position she's going to jump from. If she lets her weight sink, then when he presses up, she just sinks further. So now they're going to go ahead and do the lift. He does it down, up. She barely bends her legs and then presses straight up. It's a real easy lift for the guy if you have an incredible partner like Tiffany Rabicol. So she goes up into the air. It's much more stable in a steg. And you notice his arms were slightly bent, and there's a light hold on her shoulders as she goes up. Once she goes up, you straighten out your arms. That locks you in place, and you hold on to her with your hands tighter. If you hold on with your hands too tight, she can never slide up into it. Now, they like to come out of this by going back to the shoulders because they may want to do other sequences. I like this lift. I like to get the score, so I just have my partner kick forward. I slip my hands, I let her roll forward, then my hands slip between her arms and her lats, and I kind of do I just let her down that way, like I'm a forklift. So that's the arm-to-arm, making it look easy. It's actually a very easy lift for the man. It just takes a very skilled woman, and that's why it scores so high. Okay, this next lift, we got Sophie and Remy. This is I love this couple. They're from France. He's a fighter pilot, a test pilot. And she came down to me in France one day when I was doing tandem surfing, and she said, will you please take me out tandem surfing? Ever since I was a little girl in the Alps, I wanted to learn to tandem. And I was like, oh, I'm so tired. But I took her out, and Remy didn't even surf, but he loved her so much he learned to surf so they could tandem together, and they're a really good tandem team. They're demonstrating for us a knee stand. There's two ways to do a knee stand. You can do it front-facing or back-facing. Concept is pretty much the same. I do a lot of what you can do when you're coming out of, for example, a fake arm-to-arm. You can have her, instead of going straight to the board, come down, have her heels in, her feet out, her toes out. She can hit the crease of your hip and lead out into a reverse knee stand or a back knee stand. This knee stand really isn't a knee stand at all. It actually is up in the hip crease. So you can see as her feet hit his hips, he leans out at the same time that she leans forward. Kite surfers are good at this lift. Sailors understand the concept of the opposite dynamic. It's easier if he fully extends his arms. And then it's just really important that they get their timing. If he says lean out, it's important the girls start leaning out when he says so, because he'll start leaning back and then he end up falling off the board if she doesn't lean forward. So it's a nice basic lift. It's not used very often as a primary lift, but it's often used right at the end of a ride just to get some style points. This next lift is going to be demonstrated by the human freak, Jim Moore, who's an unbelievable athlete and surfer. He came from a gymnastic and acrobatic background. It was very strange when I first met him because I didn't know who he was and how he could be so great for not having hung out with other tandem surfers. He walked out of the gym basically and into the water. And this woman, she's kind of a bit of a beginner. She's only the world champion diver, and her name is Ray. And they're going to demonstrate a straddle. And the straddle, it starts out like a shoulder stand, except he extends his hands up and points his hands forward, and they interlock hands, and she just presses up. This is easy for the guy. He just locks his arms, engages his lats, and she has to point those toes to the sky. That's why the more extreme lifts that you get, it's really the woman that's displaying her ability, and the man's just, being the workhorse. So I'm really proud of her. This straddle is a nice high straddle. The difference between a straddle and a Kennedy is just that the woman's legs wouldn't be as high. With a Kennedy, the woman's leg can face downwards at about a 30 or 40 degree angle. The next thing we're going to show you is an attitude. This was my weightlifting buddy, and I talked him into tandem surfing, and he ends up getting 5th in the world in 2006. He ends up tying with me right now on the world tour at 3rd. But you know what the truth about him is? We found out from his mom that she calls him Chunky Peanut. So I don't care how good a surfer is, I've always got that on him. And this is who I call the beautiful Marie from Lacanau, France. So he reaches down, he grabs her ankle, and puts his hand high up on her thigh, almost as high as you can go, bend down, and she does a powerful jump up into the air, and she does like a little bit of an arabesque, leaning out a little bit with her hands up, her stomach locked in, her leg back to keep balance, and she's doing her job by pulling up, and he's doing her job by locking out his shoulders. One thing that I encourage the men to do is when you lock out your lifts with your arms, always engage your lats. Pull your shoulder down towards your hip as you fully extend your arm. Shoulder is a wonderful joint. You don't want to abuse it. This next lift is called a statue. There's different ways to get into it. You can see that she's put her knee up high, and I'm bending low, and her foot has gone into the palm of my hand. Sometimes people will just hold the girl's ankle instead. It's the same concept. I like to start with my surfing hand under her thigh. Some start with their surfing hand on top of her thigh, maybe, but I think by starting out with under her thigh, I get to throw her a little bit with that hand too, and it helps accelerate her. We do a slow down up. This is really important. You're not lifting dead weight, you're lifting living weight. So as I pop her as we throw her into the air, she starts with her big jump and accelerates upwards as she goes weightless. It's at that point when my feet should fire. I shouldn't fire as she fires. I want to do fast hands as she's going up, and then a half beat later fire with my legs. She goes up into the air, and at the top of her arch, my hand goes from the back of her leg to the front and grabs her almost up to her hip crease. For balance, she leans forward in a kind of like a little bit of an arabesque and rests her foot against my bicep, and now she's stable. Now if she leans into this a little bit more, I can release her foot that I'm holding the bottom of, and she can go into a one-hand statue. Another good combination out of a statue is what is called the Americano. What the girl does is she reaches down and lets her arm go past my outside of my shoulder. I kind of pull her leg towards her so she can grab it. It's really important that the girl open her hips up, points her hips to the sky, and she grabs that other leg. Once I feel her locked in, and it really does lock in, it's kind of nice. Her head will rest against my head. Her arm is pressed against the outside of my arm. This lift will tend to fall outward, so the girl has to make sure to open her hips and keep that leg high. Then I let go of her foot, and you can see she kind of rolls into the lift. Once you're in that position, you can hold it forever. Her head's against my head, her arm's against my arm, I'm locked into her hip crease. And then you just kind of let her tip back to you, and she keeps the one leg extended, and I put my hand out to catch that trailing leg, and we do a nice easy dismount. camel. We're going to transition it into a high swan. I bend down and I grab her thighs, lower than I would with a fake arm to arm where I'm grabbing her hips. I use a C grip on her thigh, and I press her up, and she extends one leg up and keeps one knee pulled towards me. I let my left hand flow out to the side. It's important that I keep it at a 90-degree angle. Otherwise, her right hand will slip off my shoulder. This gives her a real nice, solid platform. So all this time she's in a heavy arch. Her foot is up and a little bit, pulling back towards her other leg. And she holds this good and solid. Once we've held this for 4 seconds, in competition I like to hold it for 4. When we're practicing on the beach, we usually hold each lift for 10 seconds. That way we know that we believe that we have each one of these lifts. Then I bring my hand back to her hip, and I take the other hand, put it back to her other hip, and I use similar grip to what I would if I was going to be lifting her into the fake arm to arm. I try to let my fingers flow up her waist a little bit. It gives her more of a platform when she pushes off. Now she extends her leg. I drop my arms and my knees a little, and I push her up. She does a big press off of my shoulders and arches back and up and into a high swan. There's another way you can do a high swan. From the beach, the girl sits right next to you or stands right next to you, facing you. You raise your palms upwards, pressing them against her hip. I have the girl kind of press into me so I don't push her away. And she grabs your wrists, and you go down and then press her right up into the high swan. So there's different ways to do all of these lifts. This is just one that really works good for points and sequence. Matt and Yumi demonstrating an arabesque. I think this is their 3rd time to ever try it. Matt, you lift almost like it's a fake arm to arm, but it goes into just that one hand. The key thing here is the woman has to press and go straight up as hard as she can, and then she needs to bring her left leg right towards your face so that the man can reach and grab her calf or ankle, bottom of her foot, and keep pulling it. The critical thing here is you need to pull her ankle towards the alignment of your other arm. If you bring it into the middle of your body, she's going to start falling over. So you lift with your right arm and grab her leg with your left arm and pull that left arm, her foot directly under your right armpit. And then as she reaches the very top of her lift, she needs to make sure to begin her arabesque or your hand will keep slipping up her body. Okay, so this is an arabesque, Matt and Yumi. Okay, this is a back angel. It's similar in some respects to the way the woman is jumping up into it to a one-arm back. The famous scissor kick where she pushes with her left foot and then presses straight down with her right foot and goes up into the air. The difference is his left arm leans against her lower back. His hand just kind of gently rests sideways with the knife part of the hand just slightly against the small of her back, and she lets her left hand loop in between his forearm and his bicep. Then they go down like they're going to be going into a one-arm back, and she does a big jump. He lifts her up, and at the top of it, you can see the critical thing is that her hand releases, and she allows it to slide across his chest, and she's held up into that position by the pressure of her arm against his chest. And the more she can let it slide across his chest to his other arm, the better it will be for them. And then she just stays in that arch, and they hold that position for 4 seconds, and then it comes right back down. All right, there's another series of lifts that pretty much start out the same way, and that is the grass shack, the low stag, and the high reverse stag. They start out with the woman putting her hand on the man's head. Her right hand goes to her right hip. She raises up her left leg. He grabs her ankle. He takes his right hand, the web of his right hand, and puts it high against her thigh, in kind of the same position you would be taking a hike if you were a quarterback. They go down. She presses with her right. She jumps with her right foot, presses with her left leg, fully extends it. He lifts her and sets her on his shoulder, all the time leaving his right hand in her thigh. To do a grass shack, he reaches up with his left hand behind his head as she's sitting there and reaches for her shoulder. It's the opposite shoulder from the leg where his hand is holding. As he travels up her back to her shoulder, then she falls. He almost pulls her back into an upside down swan. So it's important that the woman not just fall back, or the guy can't get his hand in the right position on her shoulder blade. So he has, in this case, he would have her left thigh with his right hand, and he would have her right shoulder with his left hand, pulls her down, and she arches her back really hard, squeezes her butt tight. She looks back to the ground. Her hands are sideways about to where the man's face is. And he just basically does a military press. Presses her up, holds her for the count, brings her back to his shoulders. The next sequence out of this is she can lean forward on her side more, and he lets his hand slip on her thigh from the back of the thigh to the lower bottom side of the thigh. And then she takes her lower leg and bends it. She puts her foot on the inside of her knee and bends her bottom knee downwards, and he reaches behind that bottom leg to the lower part of her thigh and holds on to it. And he takes his other hand and reaches up into her armpit. She's kind of sitting upwards almost at an angle, and she wraps her arm around the outside of his forearm and then down over his bicep, and she holds herself there. It's important that she not grip him, because then he's going to do a down, up, press her up, and her hand needs to be able to slide up his arm. If she doesn't let it slide, she's going to help him to rip a muscle, and they're going to be unstable and fall. The high reverse stag is real simple. It's basically the same lift, except for instead of him pressing her from holding the highest leg, he holds her in the lower leg. So this lift goes a little bit higher, and her upper leg is the one that she puts her foot on the knee and points her knee in a stag position up towards the sky. Otherwise, it's basically the same. Press it up to the sky, bring it back to the back of the shoulders. Now, when the girl is coming down out of these lifts, a lot of these lifts, she's going to sit on the shoulder or be coming out, and she tends to pivot around his neck. It's really important when you're surfing that if a girl is letting her armpit slide over the man's neck, that works perfectly. But once that pivoting is done and you're down towards the board, you need to get your arm straight up in the air and unwrap his neck, or it's no different than a judo throw. You throw him right off the board and you with him. This next lift is a helicopter. This lift is the only lift that I do with a partner where I don't have 100% control over her safety. So it takes her really committing to doing this rotation. And this rotation, the woman sits in the opposite direction she would be if she was going to be going into a cradle or a swan. But she's basically in a cradle. You'll notice in surfing we don't use a lot of power moves to lift the women because that tends to disrupt the surfing. We'd use a lot of momentum. Here he's going to swing his hips and let the momentum increase gradually. He throws her around his back, and then he has to bend way over. And her key here is that as she goes into this lift, she releases from his neck, pushes off his neck. He has to raise his hand in the air, and she has to press her belly to him and do a really hard arch, so she's basically spinning on his belly. The difficulty for the man is that he has to lean so hard over while surfing. I find this to be quite challenging. She finishes the rotation, and with his left hand, he drops his right hand. He reaches up with his left hand. She starts to pivot around it. Her legs continue to swing as hard as she can. She brings them back into the same starting position, into a cradle. Simple if you're as good and as talented as they are. One thing I might point out here, when I have girls tandem surf with me, I like to have their left hand on my shoulder when they're in the cradle. It tends to rotate their shoulder towards me, makes them lighter. I like for their right armpit to be close to my throat and not dangling off to the side. But again, Jim Moore is a freak of nature. He's an incredible athlete, and it's amazing, I think, the things that he does on a surfboard. All right, another high-scoring lift that Chuck and Tiffany do very well. It starts out the same as a statue. He lifts her, she accelerates into the air. She stabilizes for a moment on his arm if she needs to. And then she leans forward a little bit more, reaches back, grabs her ankle. And in order for this to score, it needs to be able to go right within an inch or so of her neck. It can't really, a few inches of her neck, it can't really be way splayed out there. It needs to look basically just like this. That's a perfect scorpion, perfect tandem girl, Tiffany Arabico. By the way, this team has a blast. There's always fun in the water when they're around. When she comes down, she restabilizes, then he just catches her left leg with his right arm and brings her down to a cradle and down to the board so that they score those points. All right, this is Matt and Yumi, and they're going to demonstrate for you the pop. I think this is Yumi's second time to ever do it. You can see she's in a cradle. Her armpit is close to his throat, so her COG is tight. Her right arm is, her right hand is putting over her left hand, so she's connected. Her right shoulder's pulled forward, so she's close to him. She's got her legs totally extended this time instead of tucked close to her chest because it assists this. And this is their second time ever to try it. He leans down, pops her up in the air. She rotates, does a spin. He catches her, and then she should come back into the cradle. She should put her left arm around him again. And of course, knowing Yumi, she's giggling and laughing the whole time. Okay, this is Rico, my good friend, co-president of International Tandem Surfing Association, and Sarah Burrell. They've been partners now for, maybe 6 or 7 years, and they're demonstrating for you the acro. Rico used to be an Olympic athlete. He was on the Olympic team for France as a decathlete. And after he was done with his Olympic career, he fell in love with tandem surfing. She goes up into the regular shoulder stand. He extends his right arm to her, grabs her at the elbow crease. She reaches down over his bicep. Her elbow goes right into her solar plexus, right about at her navel, and she balances over that arm in the acro. And they don't just do this on land, they can do this in the water too. The great Rico Leroy and Sarah Burrell, they will go down in tandem surfing history. This is called the plaque, or we like to call it the French backpack. He's lifting her up over his head, and she pivots on the small of her back across his head. He leans her back. She's in a stag position. He puts his hands up, and she reaches back with her forearms and arms and interlocks with his elbow crease and just holds and locks that lifts. This is Rico and Sarah demonstrating a statue. into an Americano, then into the splits. You can see for the man it's just easy as can be. It's just tremendous ability on the part of the woman. Okay, this is my partner, Crystal. She's my partner for the 2007 World Tour and World Championship. She's never done this lift before. We're demonstrating, though, a one-legged knee stand. She basically, does a jump up, lets her left foot. It's not a knee stand at all. She lets her left foot step into the hip crease, and I lean out as she leans forward, and she raises her leg in a nice arabesque. So it's a very basic lift, but actually it's not that easy to do on a surfboard when you're used to doing arm to arms and one arm backs. This is actually a little bit tricky, but it's a great lift to first learn because it's low and the girl's safe. This is a front angel. It starts out by the girl bending low, and she raises one leg, the leg closest to me, back, and her other leg presses down as I press down. I have one hand just below her rib cage, the other hand on the closest leg, and it's really just a press. She leaps, she jumps as hard as she can, goes up, and pulls her arms back to stabilize. We're going to show it to you one more time. Crystal doing what she does best. So you can see she leans forward into the lift. Her one leg is behind her. We jump and push down and up. Crystal making me look good. That is a front angel. Okay, this is a lift that Crystal's never done before. This is a Buddha. Starts out like we're going into it using a shoulder stand. Some teams will go into it using the same technique or similar technique as an attitude, where they just grab under the thigh and shoot her straight up. We're doing it an easier way where she does a shoulder stand. Also notice my hands when she does that shoulder stand. Sometimes I'll start them out low and then press them up. That way she doesn't have to strain so hard to get up. She's doing her shoulder stand, shifting her weight into her right foot. My right arm is traveling all the way up her thigh, really to her butt, and she's sitting down into my right hand. And I'm just locking it out. And then for it to be a Buddha, she crosses her leg in front of me. Kind of hold it there for her to keep it steady. Really a pretty easy lift. And then sometimes the girls will put their hands over their head, kind of in a triangle over their head, or some of them will do kind of a Zen sort of a with their hands. The idea is for it to make it look a little bit oriental. So you can see once she's locked out, I let my hand go so that the judges see that it's a true Buddha. So that's Crystal, her first attempt at a Buddha. Very nice. That's why she was my 2007 partner. You can see a lot of the dismounts too. We'll use that C or J type motion on the lifts and on the dismounts. This is a pyramid. It looks an awful lot like a one-arm back, doesn't it? You grab her ankle, she presses straight up in the air. The only difference is my hand is higher up on her back for this lift than it is for a one-arm back. Once she's stable, you rotate her, and I reach into her high on her back. Now, a lot of people will use kind of a C grip on her neck, where you cup her neck with your index finger and your thumb. I think that's really a good idea to do in the water. This is actually quite a dangerous lift to do in the water. I think the California teams do this quite well because they wear wetsuits and there's something to grab onto. So as she goes into this, she pulls her knees towards her ribs, and it gets a little bit sketchy if your hand is too low on her back. If it's down by her hips, she'll kind of round out and be unstable. But if you're high enough on her back, this can be held stably. And then after she's got her knees bent towards her chest, she extends her feet up into this triangle, into this pyramid. Really beautiful lift. It tends to be a little bit wobbly in the water, so it's nice if you hold her neck with that C grip, like I said. And if she's wearing a rash guard, that's even better. Okay, paddling a surfboard is the same dynamic as when you're surfing. You want to make the surfboard think there's only one person on it. So when you lay down, the man has to be way forward on the girl, but not high up. You want your center of gravity to remain low. She reaches back with her feet and tries to grab your butt. You don't want her to squeeze with your knees. You won't be able to breathe. But she reaches back, tries to grab her toes with your butt. As you're start over. Okay, paddling a surfboard is an art in and of itself. It's very important that the surfboard still think that there's only one person on the board. So as you're paddling, the man pushes forward. Okay. Paddling a surfboard is an art in and of itself, and I really work hard with the girls when they're first learning how to do this properly. It can make a big difference. I see a lot of teams get lazy with this, and I think it really harms them if they don't focus on this part of their tandem surfing. As the man lays down, he presses forward close against her, but not so far that his chest is coming up. That makes the center of gravity high and the board less stable. The woman wraps her legs around him and should extend her feet forward to wrap around his butt. Yumi doesn't have quite a long enough feet to demonstrate this. You don't want the girl grabbing you with her knees around your chest. You can't breathe. And you don't want her feet dangling up in the air. It makes the board very unstable. When you're paddling into a wave, it's really helpful if the girl can reach back and grab you with her toes. I have her toes always in the right position, and sometimes I'll just yell toes, and they know that means just grab and pull forward if they can on my butt. What that does is as I'm paddling hard, I will tend to start to move away from her on the board, and that makes the board heavy on the back, and then sometimes on the best of the biggest waves, you don't catch them. So if she grabs me and pulls me forward, she can actually pull me into the wave. And if we need one more stroke to get in, if she's holding me tight, I can actually throw my ankles forward as part of my last stroke, and it'll throw us into the wave. So as she's paddling, and we're paddling together, she holds on to me, and if I want the board to turn right, I'll actually tell her, look right, and she torques her body to the right, not just her head. She looks right, pulls her shoulders to the right, holds on to me with her feet. It helps make that board go to the right. So as we're paddling out, if there's a big wave coming, I'll tell her push up, and she puts her hands next to her ribs and pushes up, doing like a push-up with her knees on the board, letting the energy of the wave pass underneath her. But as she does that, it's important for her to grab me again with her toes so she doesn't pull away. The girls tend to, as they're going back down, pull away from me. So they hold on to my butt with their toes. They won't do that. I also teach them that you push up, and then on your way back down, you push back to make sure you're reconnected, because after going over a big wave, it's not fun when the girl is an inch or two away from you and the board isn't as stable, and you want to paddle even harder to get over the next wave. As you're dropping in on a wave, it can be really helpful, if it's going to be a hard turn to the right or the left, to tell the girl right rail or left rail. Right rail just means, hey, I'm going to be turning right. Make sure you don't put weight on the left rail, because it's nothing worse than you wanting to go right and the girl steps up a little bit awkwardly, putting pressure on the outside, the other rail, forcing the board left, and then you have to try to make a big swing around to go back right. If she's really good, she'll help me actually turn that board a little bit into that wave by stepping on the right rail and then coming back. I like it, for example, when we're doing a fake arm to arm, as we're dropping in, I'll tell the girl up, and she will actually start to spiral up, so that as she's getting up, she's turning facing me, and we're going into the lift about the time the board hits the bottom of the wave. We want to see lifts done in the critical part of the wave, not surf and then turn and then straighten out and then do lifts. This is tandem surfing. You should be doing the lifts during the surfing part of the wave. Another thing I do is, as we're dropping in, when it's a big wave, the girl will tend to get into a place where she's hardly touching the water because the nose of the board is sticking out. I will yell the word calibrate, and what that means is keep the current pace that you have, because I can't go any faster and you might speed up, then our arms will be bumping and we'll miss the wave. Calibrate just means stay with the wave that you've got. Another thing that I do is when the wave is critical and it looks like we're going to purl, there's two commands that I can use. One is sit back. Sit back means just exactly that. Put your hands beside your ribs, push yourself back all the way till your back touches me, and I'll be doing the same thing so that we can sit on the very far back of the board and lift that nose up and not catch the wave. But most of the time I want to catch it, I just need to adjust our weight on the board, and I'll say push back. Push back means the girl grabs the board next to her ribs on the rails and pushes in and back. It's really important that she doesn't push down and back, because you're trying to resist the board from purling. Of course, that will make matters worse and push the nose under. So she pushes in and slides back to reconnect with me, and then we drop in. It's really important that the girl let the man do the surfing. In tandem surfing, the man has his job and the woman has her job. If she freaks out or hiccups or doesn't move when she's supposed to move, it'll throw the whole team off. So as I'm getting up, she's getting up at the same time. I'm reaching down and grabbing her and pulling her back really hard so that she's back with me. And oftentimes when there's someone else in the water, I will aim at them, either the front section or back section of the board, to get them to make a decision, to let them know that I'm going to hit them if they don't move. Then when I see them moving and know what they're going to do, then I'll turn away from them. It's not like I was going to hit them, but I know that people freak out when they see tandem surfers, and if I just do what I was going to do and just surf, they may end up plowing their board into me. So I kind of get them into a place where they have to commit and make a decision, and then I'll turn away from them. But it's really important that the woman not react to that. When I'm surfing with surfing girls that have a lot of experience surfing, they tend to want to surf the board. And so what I'll do is, just like we train our students in the ninja style martial arts, we train them often blindfolded with their eyes closed. So I just have the girls close their eyes as we're paddling and getting up, and then they feel a real need to stay connected to my chest with their back and get back to me and not try to surf. And that'll break a bad muscle memory problem within about 1 or 2 or 3 waves, and it makes a huge difference. All of a sudden the girls get it, and it really helps a lot too. So here you're going to see us paddling for a wave. Okay, so we're paddling with even strokes. I reach down and grab her, pull her back. She does not, a girl should never have her hands go out to her side like she's keeping her balance. She shouldn't be getting up and forward or just getting up at all. She needs to be throwing herself back to me. She never keeps her balance on the board. I keep her balance. So I pull her back, hip to hip. Her hip should be in the same alignment as mine, and then her feet between my feet. Now, over time, you'll develop your own surfing style to accommodate the way you do things, but when you're first learning, we highly recommend this. When I'm making a really hard right turn, I'll often take my partner and just grab her by the hips and rotate so hard that her legs fly off the board and she's looking backwards behind me. Bobby Friedman has a style that he's developed that when he's turning, the girl actually, as he's leaning right, the girl's left foot will lift up and drag back to the left of Bobby as he's leaning into the wave. That way she puts a lot of pressure into that board too.
right knee, that's what that means. Pull it that way.
So when you say right knee, go.
Well, you're going to go up, up, and then back, and your hands are here. Well, the tide is low, and these waves are about as small as possible to even ride. But we're going to go out and give that a shot. And we're going to take, should we take them with us?
Yeah, let's
We're going to go do the Zango Tango. All right.
Aloha. Yeah.
If I keep your hair dry, do you buy me beer?
I will buy you a beer if you don't have to throw me in.
So tell us about the Writers' Conference in August.
Over Labor Day weekend, we're having a conference and convention. We're going to have a lot of authors and celebrities. We're going to have Bear with his new book. He's going to do signings and he's going to do tandem surfing. It's for screenwriters, TV writers, book writers. Come out. It's going to be an awesome event. 2-day open to the public convention, 2-day conference. It's going to be great.
It's going to be cool. So come Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day
We're in
weekend.
Hilton Hawaiian Village in Waikiki. Okay, it's a wrap.
Way up high. the dreams that you dare to. Why, oh why can't
surf like this too, Lance, like this. Bend your knees and straighten them up and so here, fall back like this. I should smile like I'm not trying. She looks like a rock star? Thanks, Shane.
So it's Jake. You gotta give us what your full name is.
Jacob. My name is Jacob Lieberman.
Yes, and?
Megan Harkness.
And you're here to have your miniature clean break?
Yes.
Yeah. Or break something, probably.
Break a leg.
Okay, so you guys, what do you do athletically already?
I've skateboarded, rollerblading, I've done snowboarding, gymnastics, I play basketball.
Yeah, basketball is actually a very athletic sport too.
Yeah, so I mean I'm pretty athletic. I've never done surfing. I've always wanted to try. So.
Okay, how about Megan?
Well, I've tried surfing, but mostly the sports I play is like, I played soccer at one point, but mostly it's just golf and swimming.
All right.
So I used to be a lifeguard for the city of Los Angeles.
Okay, good. So you're a water girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you guys doing in Hawaii?
Well, we just graduated from college.
Where?
We went to this UCI, which is Irvine,
Yep.
which is like south of LA.
Yeah, UCI
and
Irvine.
like we just graduated, and we were so stressed, and we've been saving
bad.
up for this vacation just to relax. And so
I'm saving up for like
And so you're going to do the opposite of that. We're going to take you out, put you in harm's way. Yeah, the surf's about 30 feet, I would say. Long. Not high, but long.
yeah, I was like, where?
There's no way, there's no
So what did you learn about tandem?
It's really fun, but it's hard work, especially on the guy.
It's hard work. How about surfing?
It's hard work, man. Like, it's hard shoulder work. So much paddling. I thought the hardest part was getting on, but the hardest part is like
It's paddling.
Getting out
getting
there.
that work in. Just like,
I don't know why they call it surfing. I said they should call it paddling. We had our break dance. Hi, I'm Woznick, and I'm a world champion tandem surfer, and I'm co-founder, co-president of the International Tandem Surfing Association, and I'm here with...
Jag är Jelke Bengtsson. Jag är världsungdomsmästare i stavhopp från Sverige.
So I'm going to try to lift her into some lifts. It might be kind of hard since she is a world champion pole vaulter. It might be a bit of a challenge, but I'm going to try to lift her, see if she can jump at all. What's the most important job of a tandem girl?
To make you look good.
Yeah, no, great.
Great.
Great, okay, good.
It feels like it's always gonna stay. Let this last forever, turn tomorrow into yesterday. Now all those clouds have nothing left to do after the rain. And all those doubts have drifted out of you after the rain. I know, like the ocean needs the moon to take the tides away. All we need's a little time to chase the blues away. Sun is out and
She's probably one of the best tandem surfers in all of Sweden. She's world champion pole vaulter, and I would say right now the second best tandem girl in Sweden, because my wife Talon is still the best.
ain't nobody say so. No, no.
Henne koaka, koale ale apaa, baby ama ia, for you and I. Waikiki mako, ayana I keke, he me ama ia, for you and I. Aina mai gabuana, ko ale ale apa, ame ama ia, for you and I, for you and I. For I and you, and for all them two, and all them tree, and all them 4, and all them 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11 again. Hey, good fun.
To say what's impossible, well, they forgot. This world keeps spinning, and with each new day I can feel a change in everything. And as the surface breaks, reflections fade, but in some ways they remain the same. And as my mind begins to spread its wings, there's no stopping curiosity. I wanna turn the whole thing upside down. I'll find the things they say just can't be found. I'll share this love I find with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's songs. I don't want this feeling to go away. To say I can't do everything, well I can try. And as I roll along I begin to find things aren't always just what they seem. I wanna turn the whole thing upside down. I'll find the things they say just can't be found. I'll share this love I find with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's song. This world keeps spinning and there's no time to waste. Well, it all keeps spinning, spinning round and round and upside down. Who's to say what's impossible and can't be found? I don't want this feeling to go away. Please don't go away. Please don't go away. Please don't go away.
You know, Hawaiians have been surfing for over 1,000 years. My friend, Professor Tom Pohaku Stone, teaches a course on history of surfing. And I've looked at some of the ancient meles, and it talks about a man and woman surfing together. It probably means they're surfing side by side. But I gotta tell you something, Hawaiians are great lovers. And it's just gotta be that at some point, 1,000 years ago, a man and a woman ended up on the same surfboard, surfing together. Maybe the girl fell on top of the board, or he grabbed her and put him on his board, but I know tandem surfing has got to go back 1,000 years. As long as they've been surfing, they've been tandem surfing. Back in the 1900s, there was a rebirth of surfing and a rebirth of tandem surfing. Duke and the other Beach Boys would take tourist women out and put them on their shoulders and tandem surf with them. And these Beach Boys, their lineage is incredible. Their ancestors were the retainers for the kings and the queens of Hawaii. So when I say tandem surfing and surfing is a royal sport, it is.
So fun. It's super fun.
It's something new, something different. I've been surfing my whole life, and it's just like a new beginning.
Knowing that you've hit all these stunts out in the water.
Like being in a one-arm back and then looking down and you see the wave going.
You started lifting it. Pretty soon that you start feeling.
It's gonna blow up, I think. Like everything else is blowing up.
I feel exhilarated. I feel high. It's a natural high, and it's you feel great.
Oh, he got me into it. It's all your fault.
I was a cheerleader in college for HPU, and I was done, retired. I used to coach at a gymnastics gym. When one of the friends of a coach came in, I was looking for a tandem partner.
What? I'm just.
And so.
Well, it started when we was just doing some cheerleading moves, stunts out on the beach, and that's when we met Bear, and from there's how we got into it.
Came out on the beach and met Bear.
And I walked up onto the beach, and Bear was like, "Hey, Jim, want to take Allie out?" I said, "Hi, nice to meet you."
There we go.
Then let me ask it this way: what attracted you to tandem surfing, Chuck?
Bear. Bear gave me all the tips when he came in France, so I learned everything from him. Thanks, Bear. We love you, Bear.
This Bear paddled up to me one day and said, "How much do you weigh?" And I said, 98 pounds. Well, you should tandem. But I actually declined that day because I was like, who is this dude and why does he want me to get on his surfboard with him? But then a month later, I saw Bear out in the water and I was like, remember me? And he said, yeah, you ready to tandem?
Yeah. Just another day in the H.I. Let's roll. From the west to the east side we go. North shore to the town side and no a Friday, another summertime feeling irate. Well, summertime in the island is where I want to be. Sunshine and the summer breeze are calling me. Seeing all my homies and all my ladies. Ain't no other place I'd rather be. Well, summertime only best time of the year. When summertime comes, it's all cool round here. Big every time you know we come back again. So run go tell a stranger, run go tell a friend. It's summertime, yo, you know that's the fact. So just settle down, cool, kick back and relax. Bigging up your love and respect to the max. That's the way we do it, cause we like it like that. Ain't no school. Everybody in the place just cool. Chilling at the beach or at the pool. Summertime, yes, you know it rule. Now what me say, me say. Summertime in the island is where I want to be. Sunshine in the summer breeze.